So Ambassador Hart, thank you for joining us. And I'm open to some of your reflections now.
Thank you so much. And I'm really happy to be here to lend support to this crucial campaign. And on Monday, the Secretary General, he launched the WMO State of the Global Climate Report. And what we're seeing in 2020, he called it a frightening report. So one can just imagine what will be expected in the future if we fail to achieve the 1.5-degree goal of the Paris Agreement. And I can't agree more with all of the speakers who've overemphasized the need for us to shift focus to those short-term policies and actions needed to keep this goal, this 1.5 goal within reach. And keeping the 1.5-degree goal within reach is the overarching priority of the Secretary General. And he has been pushing all major economies, and he will continue to do so, to come to the table with more ambitious commitments and targets as expressed in their nationally determined contributions ahead of COP26. He has been the leading voice calling for the accelerated phase out of coal. And we all know for us to really make a dent on global emissions, coal must be phased out in OECD countries by 2030 and elsewhere by 2040. But even if we succeed in our efforts to hold the increase in global temperature rise to 1.5, and we're no way on target to achieve this, we will continue to see increasing impacts associated with climate change. And the islands and least developed countries, as well as communities, marginalized and vulnerable communities in rich countries, are most at risk. And the unfortunate paradox is that these are the people and communities who have contributed least to this crisis. And this is why, as one of his major priorities, the Secretary General has identified securing a major breakthrough on adaptation and resilience. And he has identified 5 major priorities. On the issue of finance, he has called on donors and the MDBs to commit to devoting at least 50% of their total climate finance towards adaptation and resilience. At present, despite the promise in the Paris Agreement to balance mitigation with adaptation and resilience, only 20% of total climate finance flows go towards adaptation and resilience. 20%, 20%. So he's called on all donors, all the MDBs, to increase their share of climate finance being devoted to adaptation and resilience to at least 50%. Only the Netherlands has responded to this call, and the African Development Bank. We need your voice and support. That 20%, 16 is 16 point. It was $16.8 billion in adaptation and resilience support in 2018. UNEP has estimated that the adaptation cost in developing countries currently is around 70 billion, and this will rise to $300 billion a year. So you can imagine the scale of the challenge. Secondly, he has called for easing and simplifying access to countries on the front lines, the least developed countries and small island developing states. At present, least developed countries receive a mere 14% of total climate finance flows, and small island developing states, 2%. 2% of total climate finance flows. And as I said, these are countries facing an existential threat from climate change. 12 of the 20 most climate vulnerable countries are countries in conflict. So, as you said, we face not only a scientific challenge, but a really moral challenge. These are countries that need to be supported to meet the challenge of climate change by having simplified and easier access to climate finance. 30s also call for tools to be provided to these countries to support them to integrate and better understand climate risk in their budgetary planning and other processes. 40s call for support to existing catastrophe linked initiatives like the ARC initiative in Africa and the CRIF, which help provide countries with some degree of financial protection from inevitable climate extremes. And finally, he's called for support to local and regionally led climate resilience and adaptation initiatives. Local communities know better than anyone how to support their resilience and how to meet the challenges associated with adaptation. So we're hoping for your support in advancing these 5 critical acts of the Secretary General as we head towards Glasgow. So finally, this is a make or break here for climate. As the Secretary General has said, we believe that we need to keep the 1.5 degree goal within reach. I'm an islander and I am always eternally optimistic that we can achieve the goals that we have committed to. But we are fully supportive of this initiative, and I'm committed to work with all of you over the course of the coming months and years.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Hart. I could not agree with you more. And really, I must say that those of us who have been working with many Secretary Generals believe that Secretary Gutierrez has been one of the first who has come to the forefront of this debate and indicated, as we did as the Club of Rome, that we are in a planetary emergency. And he has said very clearly through those 5 points what we need to protect the world's most vulnerable. So your points are absolutely spot on. Can I maybe ask you what your hope is then in terms of the preparation both for COP26? And maybe I can be in full transparency, indicate to you that I'm the co-chair of the UN Food Systems Summit Action Track on Resilience. And we ourselves, what we are seeing, and I'd love to hear your views on this, is that there is a joined up narrative because the convergence of tipping points and COVID before us. We see that the UN Food Systems Summit, that the CBD COP, that COP26, that the summit on oceans and desertification, and actually even the G7 and the G20, that there is a potential resonance, a potential joined up narrative that we can all participate in around resilience. Do you see the same?
Definitely. And we see the sequence of events this year and activities and major international meetings really as a once in a generation opportunity for us to link the recovery from COVID with ambitious action around building resilient and inclusive societies using these really important milestones. We have the Food Systems Summit, CBD COP 15. We have the UNFCCC COP. We also have the high-level dialogue on energy, the Oceans Conference, the Transport Conference. All of these major events are important moments where various stakeholders from various sectors can come up with really concrete options on how we can move the world towards a more inclusive, sustainable, and resilient future. So we're fully on board in terms of having a joined up narrative as we head towards COP26. There are also some other important moments. The G7 summit in June represents an important moment for the world's richest countries, including Canada, which was just, they were represented, the world's richest countries to send important signals on public finance. We know that public finance alone will not be the solution to all of these challenges. But we need more, we need it delivered faster, and we need it targeted to those who need it most. So the G7 represents really that critical moment to send that really important signal on private finance, which hopefully will then be taken up at the Venice summit that is planned for the middle of the year, where we bring other parts of the global financial system together, private finance, the multilateral development banks, to really ensure that the entire financial system is rewired towards this overarching goal of sustainability, resilience, and inclusive global development.
Well, thank you again, Ambassador Hart, for your wisdom and your dedication to this very important cause, as it is the greatest existential risk to humanity. I will finish now with just a few words, but I would like to thank you again and indicate to everyone that what we've really heard today at this launch of the 50 by 30 campaign is that no, we cannot negotiate with the melting point of ice. This is the greatest existential risk to humanity. We can't await another 10 years to act. Each 1 degree rise in temperature places an additional 1 billion people beyond humanity's climate niche and the survival of all of our species. And this will be the turning point. And joining the dots between the convergence of the tipping points and the tools that we need, 50 by 30 starts to enable us to do that. We are definitely well adapted to respond to disaster, and we've seen with the pandemic that we can do that. But we now need to design our way out of the disaster. We need to design our way forward for greater resilience. So I'm going to close with thanking you and thanking this incredible campaign that we as the Club of Rome are very pleased and proud to be part of. Let's hope that by COP26, we have many more countries who have declared that they will be part of this 50 by 30 campaign so that we can truly emerge from emergency. Thank you very much and have a nice evening or day wherever you may be.